And just like that, guys, we are back with you guys for the fifth consecutive night. So excited to be here for our Kwanzaa celebration. As you guys know, we have been celebrating Kwanzaa since Monday. Nope. Yes, Monday, December 26th. And we are on day 5 of Kwanzaa. And so what we're going to do right now is just give you guys a chance to come on in and share the platform. Power, Pastor B, if you want to share on your platforms, you can either share it from my page and or from the Black Educators Rock Inc. page. And we're just going to wait for the folks to come on in. As you guys come on in, bring us greetings. If you want, let us know where you are. I know I'll see my girl Kenyelle, who's been joining me all week, and some of the others. Renita, I hope to see you on. So guys, go ahead and share the platform, and we are looking forward to a phenomenal and powerful, pun intended, conversation. So we're going to be having a phenomenal conversation tonight with Pastor B and Samantha Power Pugh. So you guys just stay tuned. Y'all have these two phones. I know y'all iPhone people love y'all iPhones, but I really do hate iPhones.
I'm an iNation.
I am a team Android. Listen, I mean, everything is so much easier on team Android. I'm like, I try to do it on this. I'm like, I can't.
I don't even understand why. When I see a green bubble, I get upset. I'm like,
I know y'all so elite. You're elitist, but I just can't do it on this. The iPhone just doesn't cooperate like the Android does.
I think it might. I don't know.
I'm telling you. I try all the time. I try to give it a chance.
Yeah, I like the iPhone.
I know y'all do.
Yeah,
y'all love you swear by your iPhones, and us Android users swear by ours. So we all just swear by our phones.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share. Let's see.
Excuse me.
Again, Habari Ghani. We're going to be getting started in just a minute. So, Pastor B, I now we're readers, and when I tell you, I'm in denial about the power. I'm in denial.
Don't be in denial.
Don't be in denial. Well, I'm in it. I don't know why I am, but I am.
She still look 25. That's what.
This is what I'm saying. I'm like, it'd be different.
It's real with this. It's real with this.
You know what? You're not gonna be able to. Your arm is not gonna stretch long enough.
It's just not gonna happen. I just got to get used to it.
It took me about 3 years to get used to it.
To finally just embrace it. Huh?
Yeah, and then I was like, I might as well make something. So now I buy nice, cute glasses to make it easy on myself. You got to embrace it.
I really am. I'm trying. I'm just like, I'm in denial. Then I get on something like, oh, I can't see. I really can't see.
Yeah, no, and it's only going to get worse. Like, so you don't want to be that person in the restaurant. It's kind of.
Yeah, do you order on Zulu?
I sure do.
See, that's why we're gonna have to put Dr. Melissa on so she can get stylish with her glasses.
Exactly.
Well, listen, I did buy one little pair because I had to have a pair, and they're stylish. But I bought them from a black vendor. They're cute. They're cute.
Those are very cute. So what are you talking about? Like,
they're cute. Yeah. So I'm like, what? But I got to get some more. I'm trying to find me a red pair. That's the real color I want. Red.
Of course you do.
I gotta have me a red pair.
Yes. So you gotta go on a Zulu or Vu Glam, and you can and you can get a whole bunch.
And I hear everybody talking about that one. I hear everybody talking about Zulu and I buy.
Yes, I buy is a good one. iBobs.
So Cindy from New York checking in, saying Habari Ghani.
Yeah.
Dot Habari Ghani, all the way from Calumet City, Illinois. Is that near Chicago, Ms. Dot? Yes, that's right. My queen she's in Canada, y'all. This is our Black Educators Rocker, all the way from Canada.
Comes
to see us. Yes, that's Queen Jacqueline.
Hello.
Have you shared it to your page yet, Dr. Melissa?
I have. It's on my page. Go just to my main page.
Share it off your page. Yeah.
And you can just share it off of my page.
Because it does. I don't know. It doesn't say live for me on you.
Not for me either.
Did you scroll down? Did y'all scroll down?
Yeah, I just see the
Okay,
link.
I'm gonna try, Lord. I'm gonna try this iPhone thing to share with you all. It's hard for me. I'm like, all the buttons are different. Everything's just different.
Yeah, because every night I've been sharing it from your page, and I don't see it tonight.
Well, now I'll share to you. I'll just send it to you now. Let me see. I'm gonna send it to you in Messenger, and then
Okay.
you can share it. And I'll do the same thing, Power.
Okay.
Y'all technology, boys, it's the best and the worst, and y'all know it too, don't you?
Hallucination.
It's oh, we love it and we hate it at the same time.
I got it.
Got it.
Got it? Just
Yep.
send it to y'all. Happy Kwanzaa, Star Asia. There go my girl Kenya Killer. I have been enjoying you this week. You have been giving us some phenomenal responses and
Yes.
dialogue, and it's nothing better than when you having people that are just interacting with you and Miss Donna and Renita. Hopefully, Renita will make it tonight. I know y'all get fast on the weekends and y'all try to get out in these streets.
And
But,
outside. People trying to get
might be
outside.
outside, but we're gonna get started. We're gonna let y'all be outside, but we're gonna still do this thing.
That's all right. We here, right? Let's do it.
Here. And so Habari Ghani again, what we're gonna do is go ahead and get started. We're gonna get started. And of course, the first thing we're going to do, we're gonna introduce ourselves. And then Pastor B is going to light our fifth candle. So you guys are going to see how that goes. And then we are going to review the first four principles and then get into it with NIA, our fifth principle. So again, Habari Ghani family, I am Dr. Melissa Chester, CEO and co-founder of Black Educators Rock, which is more than a Facebook group. We were started in July 2015 via Facebook, grew to over 100,000 people in less than 90 days, decided we needed to become a nonprofit, became a nonprofit January 2016. July 2016, we hosted our inaugural Rock Conference, and we have been rocking ever since. So we are on our 9th Rock Conference. Our Rock Conference will take place this summer, July 2024. July 18th through the 21st in Houston, Texas. We are super, super excited about that, right? First time in Houston, we've done Jacksonville, we've done Charlotte, North Carolina, we've done Orlando, we've gone virtual for during COVID, but now we're taking it to Houston. And so we're going to see if everything is really bigger in Texas. We're going to find out, y'all. We're going to see if what they say is true. And so we're excited about that. Again, we are a member nonprofit. You can always join our membership and our mailing list at blackeducatorsrock.org. If you wanted to see some of our previous Rock conferences, which Power had the privilege of presenting at the 8th, the one we did here in Jacksonville this past summer, you can go to rockconference.org. You'll see our speakers and our presenters, see their bios, see some of the recordings. Y'all, we have us a good time at Black Educators Rock. It's a family reunion. You don't meet a stranger. Hopefully, we'll see some of you guys in the house. We definitely hope to see you. And with that being said, I'm going to pass the baton over to Samantha Power Pugh.
Hi, Habari Ghani, everyone. Hi, my name is Samantha Power Pugh. I am an educator. I am an entrepreneur, and I am super excited to be here. I've been in education 26 years. I've been a principal, a school leader for 14 of those 26 years. In the last 4 years, I have had the best job in the world where I'm a school improvement coach. So I get to go all around the country to help people improve their schools. So that's me. I am the founder of not an organization, a group of women, but an organization in building called Smart Chicks with Kicks. I'm also the CMO of a company called Sneaker Finds. Both of those companies combine my love for sneakers and my love for education and for Black folks. Combine those passions and also get to work with my daughter. And as we help people feel like they can take up space and show up their authentic selves. So that's the work that I do. And of course, and I would be remiss if I didn't say, I am OSG's Principal Power. I'm part of the organization Off School Grounds.
Yes, yes, yes. You
And a
have to
Black
make sure you mention
educator.
that. I am a member too of OSG Off School Grounds. I got to do better about my pen, y'all. It's in there. I might have to go grab it so I don't get in trouble,
Mhm.
from the team. But I am Team OSG as well. We
Yes.
definitely practice collective work and
Yes.
responsibility. That is a part of our DNA. And so we are excited about that. You guys remember Dr. Farrington, Dr. Inspiration? Well, she and Power are really, really close. They have a little girlfriend. You didn't talk about the little girlfriend collective.
Yes. Well, that's the Smart Chicks with
That's
Kicks.
a smart chick with chicks. That's right.
Yes,
I'm not. That's a smart
absolutely.
chick with chicks, y'all.
We
They're
are.
in a group called Smart Kids with Chicks with this within OSG, and so some phenomenal work those queens are doing, and so we are excited about it. We're going to go to Brandon Byers, also known as Pastor B.
How y'all doing? My name is Pastor B. I'm formerly known as Mr. Cookbook, some would call me. Owner of the restaurant in Jacksonville, Springfield, Florida. And my life took a journey, and I'm glad that I chose, it was out of two, I think, with self-determination and purpose. And I'll tell you, when I made moves strategically over the last year or so, it took purpose and intention together. So I was kind of glad that tonight worked out for me because I stepped away from a business, stepped away from a restaurant, and began to follow my passion in education. I'm from South Carolina, Charleston, Walterboro, and I jumped back into my Gullah Geechee roots, where most of the slaves went first to the Carolina area, the Low Country area. I've recently formulated a seasoning, which is a Low Country seasoning, and a cookbook, so you can take that flavor into your home. That will be published in the near future. So a serial entrepreneur, God led me back to, I've always been in ministry, but as a pastor, I call myself the community intercessor, your relatable source. So that's who I am.
Listen, y'all, in the cookbook, I was sad about it. Listen, the cookbook had those chicken wings. They had some good food. They had a little custom punch. I was sad one day. I was like, I
I'm gonna
can't.
give you a book so you can do it in your house.
Okay, okay, but I like going to eat sometimes. But okay, I take the cookbook. Take the cookbook. Right? Phenomenal space, guys. These restaurants. He also had like community meetings. I know when my husband ran for Congress, we had a chat with the Chesters there, and so it was a space that all of us used to frequent often. And so we're going to miss the cookbook, but we understand when one has to follow their purpose, which we are going to talk about tonight. And so, again, I'm going to say we're going to start the lighting of our candle ceremony, and then we're going to get into our conversation. And so, I'm going to start this lighting of the candle ceremony by saying Habari Gani.
Nia.
And we will respond, Nia.
Nia.
Right? So, Habari Gani.
Nia. Everybody type Nia in
the chat,
box.
or say it to yourselves because it is Nia.
Let's drive those comments wild so that we can make sure that our people have a true understanding. So usually growing up, I remember growing up on the north side of Jacksonville, Northwest Quadrant, is what we would call it. And every May, end of the year, we would have a community festival called the Kuumba Festival. That's where we would learn about Kwanzaa, and we would have African drums. You would have different drum sounds and beats. So you would hear the elders begin to call out, and they would say, "What's that sound I hear in my ear?" It's the sound of the drum, the sound of healing, the sound of thriving, the sound of life, the sound of vibrancy. And they would begin to speak things even sometimes as though they were not, but as though they were. So sometimes you have to begin to call those things in the atmosphere. And it's not really a ceremony. Each candle represents a day. And we've been through now 4 days, and we're going to go from the middle, which is the black. You're going to work your way to the first red, third green, fourth red. Today we like the fifth green for Nia, which means purpose. And during this time, you would thank the Creator for everything that He's done for you. And you would say, Ise Oluwa Kole Kwanzaa. Ise Oluwa Kole Kwanzaa. And that's just thanking the Creator for everything that He has done for you.
I learned something new tonight about Kwanzaa. Thank you so much for sharing. I did not have that in my repertoire, but I have it now.
The language is Swahili.
Language is Swahili. Right. Well, thank you so much for that. And so, with that being said, guys, like we said, it has been 4 nights of Kwanzaa. We started off the first night with the introduction of what Kwanzaa is, who created it, how we celebrate it, making sure that we understand Kwanzaa is not just a 7 day celebration. That is the celebration, but we're supposed to be implementing it 365 days a year. And this is just the time we take to reflect upon what we've done as it relates to Kwanzaa. And we talked about the first principle, Umoja, which we know is the founding principle of
Yes.
which all others stand. And without it, all the other principles suffer, right? We know that Kwanzaa is a celebration of the Black family, community, and culture. It is secular, it's a secular celebration. It was started because every other denomination, ethnicity, they have an annual celebration that's done around the end of the year. And Malana Karinga created Kwanzaa for us, right? We said without it, all others suffer. We know it symbolizes the unity of family, community, nation, and race. And it is both a principle and practice, right? Principles are concepts, they're intangible. But when we make those things come to life in practice, right? It's a practice of togetherness in all things. It is principled and harmonious togetherness, not simply just being together, but not just in the room and we're just in the room together, Pastor B, and we're not talking and we're not having conversation and we're not relating, but it is being together, finding our commonalities, enjoying one another's company. And so, with that being said, what would you two like to add to unity before we move on?
Well, I mean, it's definitely apropos that this is the word that carries everything else, right? Like, because it's the nation of us that carries everything else. If there's not a collective of us, there's no community. If there's no us, then we can't exercise all these things. And as I think about purpose and think about NIA, making that interconnectedness between and being really intentional about making sure that our purpose is steeped in building of the nation and building of the community is so important, because we could do all these other things, but if it's not for the movement and the togetherness and the acceleration of our nation and our community, then it's for naught. So I love that this is the first one. It sets the right tone, and this is where we need to always come back to, because that's in essence what this is all about.
Yes.
Pastor B?
There's a quote, there's no accountability without community. And I believe community builds a sense of heaving up, pulling each other up, holding each other accountable, again, to something that I heard I've been watching every day, to bringing what's necessary to the table.
Yes.
We went through a pandemic, and we said the COVID shot was vital and that it was essential that you wear a mask and protect yourself. But I do believe that now we're in a time where unity, where the world is going and what we're about to see and face all over again, because COVID is not done with us yet, I promise you that. But it's essential that we begin to implement and practice unity within our communities, on our jobs, within our schools, even with our colleagues, That's the biggest place on the workplace.
Yeah, community, like we said, it starts first, just understanding who we are as people, loving yourself. In order for you to be unified with others, you got to first love you. Be unified with you. A lot of people aren't unified with themselves. They're disjointed, they're confused. And so it starts with self. And that second principle, guys, was Kuji Chagalia. And we know that is when we talked about self-determination, to define ourselves, to name ourselves, to create for ourselves, and to speak for ourselves. And we heard from Principal Kafele and Dr. Inspiration, and we learned all about how important it is to not allow others to define you, not allow your situations and circumstances to define you, but for you to do those things yourself. This is the epitome of, I started from the bottom, now I'm here, right? With those of us who come from the projects and we come from these different backgrounds, those things, we decided how those things manifest in our lives.
Yes.
We use them for the good or the bad. And so self-determination is definitely one that we understand And with that being said, Pastor B and then Power, contribute to what your takes behind Kuji Chagalia.
Coochie Chagalia, I think it was always one of my favorite words, like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Chagalia. So when we were growing up as kids studying Kwanzaa, that word always stuck out to me, and I think that's why I've always been so tenacious and would take the risk of doing what most wouldn't do, and that's sometimes to even fail and learn from that situation, which all still too wraps up into intention and purpose. So you look at Kuji Chagalia, to be self-determined, to me means to be a self-starter, to be self-motivated, to not have to want somebody to pump or need somebody to pump and prime you, but to know first off your assignment and to carry it out in the earth realm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and the word self is there, but it could also be looked at figuratively, like we as a nation, as a collective, as Black folks need to not define ourselves spend time defining ourselves up against something that's not ours and not us. We need to be okay with who we are and who we are in this world. We come from people who are self-determined, right? Like we are our ancestors' dream because our ancestors were self-determined. There's no other group of people that have withstood what our people have withstood to get to where we are in the shortest amount of time. So when we think about self-determination and when we think about who we are directly related to our ancestors who were the epitome of self-determination. They came into a country, they came into a culture that was not theirs. And they made each and every one of us, right? Made space for each and every one of us to be here. So when we think about who we are today, it has to be with the spirit and the blood and the audacity because that word came up a whole lot that night, the audacity and the courage of the people that we come from, because that's who we are. Can't hear you, lady. There you go.
Thank you. Listen, the first two recaps, y'all own it. Y'all own it, boy. They've been doing that homework, and it's phenomenal. Self-determination. First, know oneself, right? Self-determination. Know who you are. Define yourself. Create yourself. Name. And let's talk a little bit about this one. This one to me is so important when it comes to our children.
Yes.
The youth. And that's why Dr. Inspiration was perfect for that night, because I think a lot of times, guys, we as adults, a lot of us self-defined, we self-determined, we name ourselves, we define ourselves. Just like Pastor B said, listen, I was running the cookbook, but I've decided to go in another direction, right? That's self-determination, defining myself because he's following his purpose. I think a lot of times we don't convey that to our young people. They just see our after. We don't let them see the before or discuss the before with them, the transformation. And I think that's something that we as a people have to get better with. This makes me think about children growing up in like upper middle class homes and them not understanding, struggle and understanding and valuing different things. And so it is up to us to make sure that our kids, both lower, middle, and upper middle, understand that you determine who and what you are, no one and nothing else. So I'm really, 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 really into, just like you, Pastor B, Kuji Chagalia.
Yes.
And so next we have what is our third one? We have Ujima.
Ujima. And
Right?
I used to be the principal of a school
called Ujima. Yeah, Ujima. I was right. Ujima.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Power.
No, I was saying I used to be a principal of a school called Ujima. And
really?
Yes, I did in Baltimore.
Wow.
I used to be a principal of Ujima Academy. This is it, right? Like, this is the work that I do. This is the work that we do, whether it's OSG, Black Educators Rock, whether it's our own, we go in and we go into the community because we know that we are better together. So when we think about Ujima, it's like we are the answers to our own problems. Like, we can't wait. Like, Superman's never going to come, right? Like, all of that stuff. No one's going to come and save us. The answers are within us and right here. So what we have to do is spend a lot of time together building, right? Building what this means, what community means. Other thing is maintaining it, because we build a lot of communities, but sometimes we self-implode. So we have to maintain it. And then we have to make the community's problems, our problems. Like I tell people all the time, listen, you don't do something in a school, or if you don't volunteer or think about what schools do and you don't think it's your problem, guess what it is? So, because their problem is yours. And if we don't look at it collectively as a community, then we can't solve it. We are everything we need. So that is directly tied back to the one before that.
You sound just like your sis. I tell everybody, I've been saying, I'm like, listen, you guys keep looking for us. I don't know what you're looking for. You're expecting people who have historically, traditionally showed us that they don't care anything about us, but we're expecting them to care more about us and do more for us than we do for ourselves. And it's insanity, right, Pastor B?
Yes, definitely.
Did you want to add to that one?
Yeah, I'm reading these comments. They're dropping the comments. Wow, do you hear me? I love to talk back church. Yeah, again, I feel like I just already, went into that, being that self-started, motivated person, like really not waiting on the go. I am the go. I am the door. I am. I told the church that approval is over our heads. So when you kind of grasp that, you walk into the situation differently.
Come on now.
You walk into the city. When you walk in, when he said that my steps are ordered by the Lord, that he'll be a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. When it gets dark, it means that obviously you left the path. You need to come on back. But what I mean, once you know that, once you know it, you walk into the room differently. Like I watched Dr. Chester, like she commands a room. Like I saw her that night, that event that she's talking about. She walks in the spirit of excellence. People receive her in the spirit of excellence. She brings excellence to the table. Like what's in your hand, Moses? You turn around, people want to be able to stick their hand in your side and feel your infirmities. They want to know that you're real. They want to know that you're a relatable source, even while you're leading, even while you're being self-determined, even while you're motivating others. You still bring to the table that I brought this with me.
That's right.
And when you bring it with you, pull others in with you, because it's about building and maintaining together. The thing that I love about OSG and Black Educators Rock and BMEC, we're not competing with each other, guys.
No.
We're collaborating. We understand it's cooperation and cooperative economics, which we're going into next, right? Collective work and responsibility. We understand that we are stronger together. We are better together. There is no, it's all of us. It's collective. And so when we as people understand that, again, we have everything we need, and it is, I am because we are, and because we are, I am. The game changes. I swear, Pastor B, I don't know if it's the black men or the black women, but when one of us like really, really gets it and grabs that other one on, and we start doing what we're supposed to do.
It lights like a fire. I'm telling you, I'm in Atlanta now, what some would call the Black Mecca. I hear that up north sound of your voice power, but it's a different vibe, being from, the South and being from Jacksonville. I love my city, but it's just a different, it's a different spirit. It's a different vibe, in Atlanta, these people, black folk, they come to pull you up, they come to pull you out, in mass numbers. You'd be at the Battery, at the Brave Stadium. You're like, oh, what you do? I do this. Let's network. Let me get your number. And it's not as, I would say most cities are political, but you don't feel the political bite of it because I connect with this one, I connect with that one, I don't connect with this one. And everything is political, but I just feel like in other cities where we're trying to grow ourselves to be, I say Duval, we got it, and it's each one coming together, and not, like you just said, Dr. Chester, not being intimidated. There are so many breakdowns that have caused us to question our identity.
That's right.
In the African American household, there are so many breakdowns that have made us. But you look at, and I'm Pastor B, you look at the word says, who bewitched you? That means who turned you from your original design. That means who said that to you to make you capture that image in your mind?
That's right.
And you have to explore that and be honest about that, because we talked about it with Onay, that we're not meant to be rugged individualism. We're not meant to be by ourselves. We are meant to be communal and village. And every time we get away from that, it's not good for us, y'all. It's not good for us.
I mean, we come from that, right? Like before there was a language or a dialect, we were communal, right? Like we were sharing stories with things of the earth and of the world. We were passing on stories without formal language.
Come on.
The only way you can do that is through community. We are community people. So it makes me, so like, I love when we get together. I love us, right? So like when I see us together, I'm like, come on now, right? Like, because that's what we're supposed to do. That is who we supposed to be. All this other stuff, they tell us about, the individual and just worry about you. They talk about identity, but identity is about not just you, your relationship to identity and your identity in relationship to people. So people often try to define themselves as just themselves, but you're only as good as how you are relating to the people around you. So it's super important. Y'all done got me started tonight.
That was that breakdown of I am because we are, and because we are, I am. That was the breakdown. That was just number 3, y'all.
30 seconds. Like what you just said, that whole communication piece. Like, even you look at the drum, you want to go back to slavery, why we are the way we are, why we act the way we are. If you've never been to Africa, it's a real hard way. You know what I mean? Yes. But you look at the drum was the first form of wireless communication.
There you go. There you go.
So if we can follow the rhythmic pattern of a drum, clearly somewhere we're off beat. You get what I'm saying? Oh, we need to be aligned.
Yes, it's misalignment.
Yes.
Yeah, alignment. And we're still on purpose, y'all. I'm telling you.
Listen, we ain't even got the purpose yet. We've been talking about the other week going now. Ujama, right? Ujama. We're at Ujama now. Cooperative economics to build our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together, right? So that was last night, and that was my girl Dawn Curling of the Melanin Market, and we had some phenomenal conversation. Just understanding, guys, we got a lot of phenomenal Black-owned businesses, and we have to start being intentional about supporting them. We're gonna OSG and Black Educators Organization. We're gonna do things where we descend upon Black-owned business. I don't know if it's gonna be a Bob Friday, a Bob month, but Black-owned business month or whatever. And we're gonna identify them. And she talked about also like just picking a business. We're going in and supporting it and purchasing and buying all together as a collective. But we got to be more intentional. I spoke about, for me, I always try to make sure I attend. I shop at least with one Black, like my makeup. I use Black people. For the most part, I'm Lip Bar, yes. and I got to get my other girl. I got to get her name because she's a Delta, but she has a phenomenal product. Also, there are Black-owned cosmetics. We have clothing. I mean, I carry these purses, and people ask me about this Black male that makes these cute purses. But we got to be intentional about supporting our own, right? Our dollar does not circulate in our community the way other dollars do, nope. And we're the biggest consumers. It's like segregation. And then when they desegregated and they started saying you can come, it's like it unfortunately it harmed Black businesses, because now we started going there as if going there was better. We had to fight for them to take our dollar, and then now we don't give our dollar to our own people who was always there for us, right? That's right. We got to figure that part out. So what do you guys want to add to Ujama?
We have to teach each other about financial literacy. That's what I love about OSG. I'll talk about OSG all night, but that's one of the things we constantly are talking about: financial literacy, helping somebody figure this out. And also thinking about how we can share resources and within our schools, within our community. So it's super important that we not only just share money, but we share secrets, right? Like if you know the cheat code to something, share it. You got to share it, because it's good is if you just have it. It doesn't matter if the rest of us don't have it, right? So like sharing the information that you have, sharing your resources, and also being willing to be vulnerable about sharing your stories. A lot of us have really, especially those of us who are like first generation out of poverty, we have really strange relationships with money. Right? Like we have traumatic relationships with money, right? So if no one is teaching us and no one is sharing with us the information, then we can't be better. We can't support our next generations of kids. So cooperative economics is super important. This t-shirt that I have on is from my sister Teach from the Culture. Follow her on Instagram. but she's a sister that's out here just trying to spread the word of Black culture and education. So I want to give her a shout out because I got her shirt on.
And you know, I have on Dawn. We make the shirt on. So you know, yeah, we repping our people, cooperative economics. We're gonna get a Bob Friday superintendent everything. I see you on that, big sis. Tia Davis. I see you in here checking in. But we're gonna be intentional. We're gonna be intentional about what we do for 2024 as it relates to Kwanzaa and implementing these practices and these principles 7 days a week. You know, we're gonna listen. I got some plans for Kwanzaa this year. I wasn't good last year, Pastor B, but I'm gonna be on it this year, Power. I'm going to be on it because it's exciting me. It's exciting me just with the new relationships I formed. And to her point, OSG, when you talk about cooperative economics, listen, they have the answer. We haven't talked a lot about it, but Black Educators Rock. You know, we talk a lot about we have our own things we have and everything we need, but we don't practice that in our schools. I'm going to go with just specifically for schools. There are many of us that are consultants, speakers, presenters. We have educational products, etc. But we don't support that. You know, when it's time to get something for our schools, we supporting other people. That OSG got that thing down. You hear me?
That's right.
So impressive. We all must be more intentional that way. So what we have to do is take a model like OSG and multiply that and spread that and duplicate that and replicate that. And so that's why we've been talking about being intentional and strategic. And Stanley Scott, I hear you over there saying, you know, we lack leadership. You're a leader. We're all leaders, and we all have to do our parts first within ourselves, within our families, our schools and communities. Because while you're busy looking for leaders, stuff's still happening. Become a leader. Implement what you want to see happen. Be the change that you want to see. And that's the thing that I love about the people who are close to me. They're not talking about what we're not doing. If they are talking about it, they're finding solutions to it. And so I'm excited about my tribe. As Queen Jacqueline said, I'm very intentional about my tribe, my OSG, Black Educators Rock, BMEC, and Black Men United, and others. I mean, we are doing great work out here. And I think a lot of times we're just not sharing it. One thing we did talk about last night with cooperative economics, Pastor B and Power, is making sure that we are sharing the right information. A lot of times we get caught up sharing the negative too. You know, we're sharing the fights and we're sharing different things, but we have to come and be different. We got to truly practice these Black principles that we're talking about during Kwanzaa. And so we just got to all hold each other accountable and just, you know, make it do what it do and be who we're meant to be.
If I can insert here, you said you call Mr. Scott's name, right?
Yes, he put something about we lack leadership.
And I don't think, because I want to address the people who are on, I don't think that we lack leadership, and that's kind of where you were touching, and everybody bringing, you know, their thing to the table. I think the problem is we have leaders. I'm just really trying to tread lightly on this, and I don't know how it is in your region.
Come on now.
We have leaders, Mr. Scott. But what happens is, I remember one day I was riding back into my city, and the spirit spoke to me and said, "The gatekeepers are dirty." And when I said, "Well, Lord, what do you mean?" We say we have leaders or we lack leaders. No, we do have leaders, but I'm reminded of, and again, I'm Pastor B. I'm reminded of Paul and Silas.
Come on.
And then you had Lydia. If we would say in today's time, we would pronounce it Lydia, but I would say Lydia in that time. Paul, Silas, they were carrying out a work. Lydia was behind them as if she was carrying out the same work, as she was pointing the people in the same direction. So we don't lack leadership because, Granny would say, if you hold a snake close to your bosom, it'll bite you. We have leaders, but I tell you, there's a separation. He said, let the tare and the wheat grow together, and I'll do the separation. I believe that we're coming into a time where we're going to really see the real from the fake, what is from what's not. And you look at Lydia in this story, she was pointing people in the same direction, but her motives were not right. She was working for a master. She had other objectives. So I don't think that we lack in leadership. We have people even too who portray themselves. Look, Dr. Melissa, I had to take 10 steps back. Do you hear me? Because I'll tell you the word, even as in this last day, is to refocus your focus,
Right.
to look again. He said, and again I say rejoice. That means he's about to do it again. So we look at that the whole thing. We don't lack leadership. We lack discernment.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
We,
Listen, I'm so glad you said that, Pastor B. There's so we have this Black Educators Rock think tank, Dr. MJ, Principal Kafele. There's a small core group of us where we share with each other, we uplift each other to keep us going this good work. And I think it was Dr. MJ shared this powerful clip today, and it was Jesse Jackson and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, where they both had taken the same topic and shared it. And I want you guys to, when you get a chance, just to watch this clip because it speaks to just what you're speaking to. Because Reverend Jesse Jackson was like, we winning, and he was naming these things. And when I say when Lewis came in, Farrakhan came in, and he broke that thing down, and it's to just what you're saying. I'm going to make sure I put that in the chat.
Please.
Before we get into our principle of today, y'all, they so good. You see how they all listen? They're so awesome. Our principle of today, I first have to say what OSG is, because y'all assuming that people know, just like I do an introduction to Black Educators Rock, and I am OSG, so I can do this.
Yes.
Off School Grounds Coalition. Well, I'm gonna let my sister Power do it. Power.
Off School Grounds Coalition. Yes, that's who we are. We are a collective. We used to say we're a group, but now we're a collective of very smart, intelligent, influential, and just powerful people who are about that time, about that work. And we get together and we brainstorm. We are the brain trust, and we are the support of one another to help think about how we're going to change the game of the educational field. We do the work, we talk about the work, we support each other. It came together out of necessity and out of purpose. It was the purpose of Dr. Dennis McKeezy to think about how he would pull together all these principles that he was coaching in one place, and then the pandemic hit. And it was a great opportunity to pull us all together virtually to share stories and to share resources to help us do the work, because that was the time that our kids and communities needed us the most. But we were struggling ourselves. And because of that collective, and because of the collective work that we did together, we were able to sustain way past just the pandemic. And now we are in all the states and about 2 other countries outside of America. So come on Thursday, we're on the meetup. Follow us on the official official offschoolgrounds.org, and everybody's welcome. Come through.
And so, and again, they're very intentional about the work they do. Is what they're in New York. They're New York based, but we do have an off school grounds. We're the Southern Bells. Myself, Jamila Hudkirk, and Constance in South Carolina. I'm in Florida. Jamila's in Georgia. So it's not just New York. It started there. We're there, y'all. We in there. And so it is just like I said. You have people who have written books, who have curriculum, who speak, and they're like, superintendent, everything. She's a superintendent, y'all, and she's a big time superintendent.
And we have almost half of not half. We have one of the largest percentage of people that have doctoral degrees of any Black organization.
Well, I think we challenge y'all with that. We just don't talk about it. Now we've been doing a horrible job. Dr. Sheikah, Dr. Tammy, we got a lot of those too.
Well, listen, let's put them together, because there's only 1% of us in the country that has them, and we already have broke the barriers just with both of our groups.
We don't talk about our PhDs. We never do, and that's the great thing that you guys do. You put it up there for everybody to know. When I walked into the space, I think the thing that struck me the most about OSG, y'all, they walk in some serious swag and confidence.
We do.
In Florida, I don't know if it's our governor, Pastor B, we've let beat us down, and I don't know what, but we timid.
What's happening here? This is what we do.
What is going on? Like, I was not ready, and I was like, but this is really my space, because I've allowed, like you talked about, Pastor B, other people to who we listening to, who turned my ear, right? And I'm like, OSG is what's up. when I say they walk into their gifts and their purpose and their swag unapologetically, and I just want to see that replicated and duplicated in other states and other areas. It's phenomenal. And so that is who OSG is. We'll make sure they have a meetup at 4 p.m.
Every
Eastern
Thursday.
Standard Time for leaders. Every Thursday. Every Thursday is happening. I'm on there. Powers on there. Superintendent, everything. The founder and creator himself, Dr. Dennis McKesey, Easy Breezy, Dennis McKesey. Y'all, they listen. They so bad, y'all. They even got entertainers. Dame Dash,
Yes.
Lace Elliott, and
Anyway,
MOP. They bad. They bad. And it's a phenomenal. And I should say we're
I
bad.
was gonna say they.
I am one of them. I am one. And again, this goes right into that again, collective work, cooperative economics. And so excited about my OSG family. And so,
Yes.
Karina, thank you for asking the question. Thank you for asking the question. Oh, we in Los Angeles. We got Principal Rod. We there already. You just
Los Angeles, we're in Compton,
Principal,
we're
we
in, yeah,
everywhere. You know, Principal
we're in
Rod, he's
Chicago, we're in Milwaukee. Yeah.
And Dr. McKesey has shared the website. He shared
Yes.
the website in there. So yes, check us out. And so again, taking what they're doing and duplicating it and replicating it across the country is something that definitely needs to be done. And as Superintendent said, being obedient to God's calling is what they really are doing, right?
So when you talk about purpose, right? Like
Justice League of Education.
That's right. And so when you talk about purpose, we, and as we segue into talking about that, like we talk about all the works that we do. We have the PhDs, we have the books, we have but the thing is, it is all grounded in the purpose of doing God's work, right? Because I know that when Dennis was thinking about this organization and before he gets on any Thursday, he prays, because this is not, we are, and the reason why we are who we are is because we understand that it's bigger than us, right? Like it's not about us. It's about going in his purpose, right? Like in his purpose. And once you think about what his purpose is, it becomes easier to connect with other people because you get almost like see them in the room, like they got this special glow and aura. So the work is definitely grounded. And we have people of different religions and different faiths, but we all come together. But we know that this work is a calling that is not ours, it is his.
And so primarily, like we said, school leaders, superintendents, chancellors, entertainers, and they're just helping me to be more intentional about our classroom leaders, because as Dr. McKesey told me, they're leaders as well. Because one day I was like, well, I just have the teachers, like, and they're leaders. They're the classroom leaders. And so I've been very intentional about my language, about my educators, because we are Black educators, right? We do have principals, we do have APs, counselors, but the majority of our masses is teachers in the classroom. And so that's why we thought it was perfect for us to align. And we're going to do something in very near future where we're bringing, because what I think is that you guys as principals and superintendents, I need you guys to mentor those educators, those teachers that are in other areas. They need to see you all and hear from you all, because they may be at a school where they don't have a good leader.
That's right.
So having that mentor leader somewhere else, that village, expanding that village, like we talked about last year, is integral for success, and it's integral to keep them in this good fight. And so with that being said, y'all, we moving right into purpose. NIA, tonight's principle, a commitment to the collective vocation of building, developing, and defending our community, its culture and history, in order to regain our historical initiative and greatness. And ooh, guys, this one right here loaded. Who is loaded? It's a commitment. We got to start with that first sentence, a commitment to the collective vocation. Let's start there. What is commitment? That means, guys, you don't get mad at Power because she didn't agree with you about something that was supposed to happen at the next meetup. And so now you're not on the meetup.
Right.
You got mad at Pastor B about something that you felt he said in the scripture. And so now you're not a part of his church no more. We talking about a true commitment, because I need for each of you to define what commitment is for you, because commitment is bigger than, as a pastor, at one time I went to his church, Power, and he said, how you get on is how you ride.
Oh,
how you get on is how you ride. So you got on because your girl got on. So when your girl get off, that means you get off.
Get off, right.
Exactly. You got on because you're looking for something just for your benefit. As soon as it's not benefiting you personally, then you're going to get off the ride. See, commitment is bigger than self. Commitment means I'm committed to this ideal, to this goal, to the purpose for which I was called to.
That's right. That's
And
right.
then that collective vocation, if I'm truly committed, that means collectively we're doing this together, building, developing, and defending our community. Y'all got to stop being the ones that's tearing our communities down.
That's right. That's right.
You know?
And the word vocation is so interesting, right? Because when we think of vocation, we think about job, right? Responsibility. So it's our collective job, right? Like it's our job, and it's our job as Black folks. It's our job as people of God. It is our job to make sure that we're continuously working to make sure that we do carry out this work together. So it's like people always say to me, like, Power, you're at everything OSG. I'm like, yeah, because it's bigger than me, right? Like it's bigger than me. I'm always going to show up and show out and support because I'm committed to the people and I'm committed to the vision and I'm committed to the work. So I'm going to show up when I'm tired. I'm going to show up when it's hard. I'm going to show up because my commitment is I want you to always know when you turn around in any room where you at and you're trying to do something that there's going to be at least one person that's going to be there to support you and cheer you on. So commitment means to me is like, it's that whole thing about that unwavering faith, right? The unwavering faith. So when I have unwavering faith in him, then I could get committed and stay committed to the things that are of him. So, and then you have to believe. So like, and it is my job to carry it out. So that's how I see it.
Go ahead, Pastor B. I see you over
She
there.
just lit me on fire. So my question, even in commitment, and I'm glad that you went there because it's like my notes are lining up to what y'all talking about right now. It's how do you respond to commitment? I don't think that it's commitment. I think it's the response.
Right.
To commitment. You said, I come and I do this and that. Just because you're being called to another level or because there's more expectation upon you or that the universe is pulling you in a direction, you don't back down and be somebody else. You be who you're called to be.
That's right.
You show up in purpose. I believe that when we talk commitment and the response to commitment, I believe that each person must decide how they would respond. Question is, will you accept or fully accept the invitation to commitment?
That's right.
So many times the invitation of commitment is calling you, and you don't respond to it anyway. So you miss the opportunity. You miss that open door. You miss that next promotion or elevation because your response wasn't willing. That's it.
And when the gentleman earlier said that there's a lack of leadership and you said that there's a lack of discernment, I was going to add, it's a lack of commitment, right? Because we get pulled in so many different ways, right? We get pulled because the flesh and all of these things, the distractions are really real and it's probably been realer than ever before. And that understanding of being committed to something, even when you're tired of it, even when it's not cool anymore, even when it's not pretty and shiny, but it's still in alignment with purpose, then you got to still keep pushing. We don't see enough leadership that shows commitment. People like Martin Luther King was like, I don't care what you all do, I'm still going to show up, right? Like, like I just watched a movie about Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin was committed. He was like, I don't care what y'all do, you're going to bang me over my head, y'all going to call me all types of names, but I'm so focused on getting this march on Washington to happen that I'm willing to give it all up. And I don't know that we're willing to give it all up or who or what we're willing to give it all up for. And that's because we lack alignment to something bigger than us. And that's what leads to our lack of commitment.
Like Superintendent Everything says, where commitment is present, providence moves too.
Yeah. If I can say, and if you're going to expect his plan, then your strategy must be intentional. All of us want his will, his plan. We want the promise, but our strategy does not line up. Right. We lack to plan. We lack, even when I walked away from the cookbook, Dr. Melissa, it was a plan for me to win because I know better is the end of a thing than the beginning. These present sufferings will not be compared to the glory that's going to be revealed.
Right. But again, you were committed. Like you said, it was strategic and intentional. A lot of times people are not committed.
Yeah,
people, but you, and then I used to get mad at people, Power, I cannot, because I used to expect me from other people. And I had to learn, don't expect me from other people. And what I realized about commitment is that if you're not committed to you, how you going to be committed to me? How you going to be committed to this work? How you going to be committed to this cause? Many times we're not even committed to ourselves. That's why I always go back to when it comes to these principles, the first thing that anybody has to work on is self.
Right.
It's self. Everything is rooted in self-knowledge,
Right.
self-love, and asking yourself, as Brandon and Principal Kate, Principal Kafele said, who am I? Am I who I say I am? And am I who I ought to be? Like, answer those questions, be real about that, and you'll get some different results into it. So we said the building, developing, and defending our community. It don't say myself, it don't say my pockets, it don't say my wealth, it doesn't say any of that. It says the building, developing, and defending our community. You know, one time before Dr. Chester and I had a real bad argument, Brandon, and I'm gonna publicly apologize to him because he got on me about saying that Black people are the only people that will, go on, social media and publicly humiliate and I was like, no, we not, no, we not. Other people do it, but he's right. He was right. I was defending us, but it's the truth. We are the ones that do it the most and the worst.
That's
We are biggest haters.
That's right. But we also have a longevity of post-traumatic stress and not only understanding how to relate to each other because we never were we were forced to relate to each other. Right. So now is we haven't defined who we are clearly in relationship to who we are in this country. Right. We come from a lot of places that have a lot of places and spaces, right, that don't nurture that whole idea of making sure that we don't tear each other down. There's money being pumped into this. It's popularity. There's so many things because there's so much damage to our people that this country and we fail to recognize. We only about a few hundred years old in this country. There's civilizations that have been in thousands of years, and we're expected to get right after we've been a part of the most horrific genocide that this world will ever see. And we're supposed to come back and just be able to support each other? Nah, it's not going to be that easy. But the thing is, it can happen if we just change that level of intentionality. But the problem is we spend too much time talking about that it's not happening, that we're not spending enough time about how to get it to happen. So I push back on that a bit, but I do agree. But we have to be each other's support system. And until we do that, we're going to keep seeing these problems evolve.
So with that being said, I got to give Dr. Sheikah, that's my Black educator. Yes. I'm finna share with OSG. I decided. Simone told me I had to, so I'm going to.
Yes.
But she said some people are trying to pour from broken cups.
That's right.
They need self-awareness and healing. And I would just challenge them. We do this at the Rock Conference. They'll tell you, Power, myself, and some others, Dr. Farrington, Dr. Inspiration, and Dr. Sheikah, we were on a panel. And what we do is we break up the men and the women. And we go and we have real conversations about this work that we do in ourselves and support, etc. I would challenge that when we're at these academic conferences that we put on, we have to make sure we're addressing, because that's a part of our advocacy and empowerment with Black Educators Rock. We're addressing, the socio-emotional. We're addressing those aspects of leadership, of whether it's classroom, school, whatever it is, because it does a lot of times get just dismissed and ignored and overlooked. And so Principal Kafele was on there with Dr. Sheik, and when I said they had a phenomenal conversation today, and it was really about that, just how do you support your spouse when they're in this work, finding the right spouses. And so this is some key stuff here, and it's a topic all of its own to me, that when we're having those academic conferences, we have to be intentional about including this type of work and education and empowerment as well.
That's right.
If I could say something, when we, what y'all are talking about, we're looking at those platforms and the influence that God has given us, and tearing each other down on them. It was a day Spirit spoke to me and said, stop posting that. Stop posting like that, or stop responding. And not that it was necessarily, bad or horrific. It was more, freedom of speech. That's my plan. We all have different things that we may, say, but when you are convicted about something and you make the conscious decision, I went out and I got a development coach, for my personal, who would watch my posts and stuff like that and would say, hey, when you started out saying they, and putting them in this, that, even if you're not talking to them, it leaves way for people who may not read it in the right way to form their own opinion. So I took even purposefully to get a coach, to help me, to coach me in my words. Even some of the stuff that I was saying could have, the bottom part could have been great, but the top of the beginning, how you address people, how you break down, I would say not the barriers, but I would say the lines of communication is how you address people. So a lot of times, when we're talking about uplifting each other, it's making sure, this is something that came to me too. We think about, how do you cast a spell? You cast it with your words, SPELL. So let's be intentional with the words. You can say, girl, I don't really like your hair, Power. But the thing is, if I'm your best friend, I can say, girl, I think, curl it up a little bit more. And, you got that Chaz and that Pataz, like build a person. Like sometimes it's the words we choose. And it could be that one word that curves the whole narrative of how a person is going to perceive what we said.
But what I said is affirmations. I said we get caught up. We don't realize that affirmations can be positive or negative. A lot of people speak negative affirmations as opposed to positive affirmations.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
You have to be cognizant of what we're saying. Completely concur.
Right, because even a culturized thing, acculturated to believe that, tough love, harsh feedback, right? And I do a workshop on this, and it's like we come from a culture with the dozens, right? Like we played the dozens and your mama Joe, right? We're in a post-political culture where people love the former president because he shoots straight from the hip, right? And it's like, nah, your intentionality around communication is so that the person gets the message, right? And if they don't get the message, then you have failed at your communication. And the thing is, we can't just always be like, I got to shoot straight from the hip. I got to keep it real. I got to keep it a buck. I got to keep it 100. Nah, what you got to do is keep it in empathy and keep it in love and keep it in pushing. And so we don't do enough of that. We're not kind because we're not kind to ourselves. So we don't know how to speak kind to one another. We think that our Blackness or our realness is attached to being a bit over the top and hurting people, where it's not about that. It's about being honest. I always call it rigorous communication and rigorous feedback. I want you to be rigorous with me. I want you to talk to me and tell me. I don't want you to be harsh. And those are two different things. And we have to get to the place where we give each other rigorous or candor, but we're not at the point where we're breaking each other down. And I don't know that we've found the balance of that, because we're in a culture that celebrates it, particularly for Black women. Right? Because it's this caricature of us that we're so harsh and we speak this type of way, and we almost live out of that caricature that doesn't necessarily build up our communities.
Yes, and I can't address but 1 out of 10 of his posts, Brandon, because it's just I always get a feeling of negativity. But he said, we're getting all our degrees, but the question of why are we regressing now as a people with all the college degrees? College degrees have nothing to do with people regressing. That we're not. I don't even know why we're regressing is because of the conversation we're having, because we tend to adopt the Eurocentric mindset. We tend to forget that we're not about rugged individualism. We are communal. We are village in mind. We need to understand that we need to speak things as if they are. We need to speak things in the positive and the negative. And we don't do that enough as a people collectively. We know that we have a lot of people out here doing great work. And when it comes to doing great work, understanding Dr. Sheikah and, like I said, Sean Hurd, my brother Sean Hurd and Principal Kafele, they have, when I said, a phenomenal conversation today. And Principal Kafele mentioned about a post about mission versus a job, right? Mission versus a job. And some of us we just don't jobs. We don't know what our mission is. But when you know your purpose, right? That purpose is going to be the underlying reason that drives your actions, the guiding principle that gives your life direction and meanings. I always say your why fuels your how. If you know your why, it's gonna, whenever I feel like giving up power, my why gonna fuel my how. Damn, I don't want to do it no more, but my why fuels my how. That's your purpose. What is your why? I don't think enough people ask themselves in the things that they're in, what is their why? Everything that I'm a part of, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, National
Go.
Association of Real Estate Brokers, whose mission is to make sure that we are getting equal access as Black people to buying, selling, and investing real estate. Black Educators Rock, which is about teaching our Black children. Those things are my purpose. Those things are the things that drive my actions. Those things, they can't be tainted by somebody's opinion of me because some one other person or 10 other people don't show up, because somebody think that it's not a good idea to be Black Educators Rock. You should be Urban Educators Rock, because you know that's kind of, people get kind of offended by Black. Those things, they fall to the wayside when you know your purpose.
Because
So
people,
I challenge people and ask yourself, what is your purpose? Tell us your purpose in the chat. What y'all want to add to that?
because people are not motivated by purpose anymore. They're motivated by things. They motivated by popularity. They motivated by money and positions, right? I do it every time I do a workshop for assistant principals and principals and teachers. I always ask them, why are you here? And it becomes extremely you wouldn't believe how emotional it becomes for people, because they don't know why, right? Like, they don't know why. And I say to them all the time, it's going to be hard. It's going to be the hardest thing you're going to do. You're not going to get paid enough money. People are going to doubt you. They're going to write stuff in the newspaper about you. They're going to talk bad about you. And you still got to get up and come to work anyway. And if you ain't connected to a why, my love, you're not going to be sitting for long. You're not going to be sitting a long time. So we have too many people who will tell you, I want to do this because I like the title. But we've gotten so far away from purpose and our whys because we are so distracted by the other things that we tend to define ourselves, because we don't know how to define ourselves, because we lack purpose. And if we don't come together, if you don't stop for a second and be reflective about your why, I say to people all the time, so why does your school exist? They look at me like I'm crazy. Why does your school exist? You can't tell me what you need until you tell me why your school exists. Why are you doing this? What gets you every day? My why every day is that I have a purpose to bring people together, to do dope things, to love on people. That's my purpose, right? My purpose, my work, my purpose is driven. That's why I'm not in a principal seat anymore. I'm outside because I was a good principal, but I'm a great coach. Right. And I'm a great coach because I speak life into people, because I know that my purpose is about speaking life into people. And so when it gets really hard, and when all of those things, and when it doesn't seem, I know that I could get up every day and go and do this work, as hard as it may be, because it's my purpose. And I find joy in it. Go figure that there's joy in this life, in this work. But when you attach to purpose, it comes so easy.
Pastor B?
When I think of purpose, I think of, one moment, that was very good, Power.
Don't be getting caught up in them comments and them statements. You my second guess that get caught up
No.
in them comments. I know you trying to. I'm gonna let you get you need a minute to get it together.
No. When I look at the script reads, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. That means that if he already knew us before we got here, we were already purposed before we entered the earth. And we come into a place, again, when we spoke of alignment, and when you just said, when you know your why, one thing that came to me is when you know your why. That was powerful, Dr. Melissa. But when you know your why, you don't worry about the how. You don't worry about the how, because you look at it's not necessarily for us to know where we're going. It's for us to be available and keep ourselves prepared to go wherever we're led to go. When we look at many are called, but few are chosen. Each person must decide how we or they will respond, and will we accept or reject the invitation. But the script also says that we are called or invited to follow where the universe is taking us. So there's an invitation to follow the path. And I believe that some of us are successful as we are even in the times where we have to go back to the drawing board, or when we have those moments, those moments where we say, let me go back and take the eraser and do that again. It does not negate our greatness. It does not negate our calling. It does not make us inadequate. It does not, disqualify us from where God is taking us, because he says, I know the thoughts that I have for you, plans to prosper you, plans of good and not of evil, and plans to bring you to an expected end. But then you come back again. We don't know his thoughts. They're higher than us. But and I'm going to end with this real quick. We were taught so many times, through religion, which was also embedded into the roots of slavery as well. When we say, look to the hills from which cometh your help, knowing that your help come from the Lord. Yeah, we seek him first, the kingdom of God. We acknowledge him in all our ways, and he would direct our path. But at the same time, where we have, I believe, looked at that scripture in a different way, when we say, look to the hills from which cometh our help, so many people are going to a different place because he's telling you to look back within yourself. He's telling you to look to a higher place within yourself, because we already have everything that we need. He said, in these earthen vessels are treasures that are locked up. Then you go to Exodus. He says, how do you receive these treasures? Through prayer and meditation.
Come on now.
Yeah, because you know what? This goes right into what you're saying. Having a clear sense of purpose is going to provide a roadmap for your decision making, right?
Where there is vision, there would be provision.
There will be provision. Listen, it's going to provide a roadmap for your decision making. A lot of times you guys saying, I don't know what I want to do, and I don't. But if you know your purpose, your decision making is going to be better. It's going to help you prioritize your goal. It's going to align your actions with your values. You got to understand that. But again, I think a lot of times people don't walk in their purpose. I think, and I talked about this previously the other night, Pastor B Power. I think a lot of times we get caught up comparing and contrasting, right? We were talking that other night, me and Don were talking about staying in your lane. I think what happens is you looking at Power in her lane, like, what? I think I might want to try that. That's not my lane. So why do I want to try that? You have to know your lane. That's why, I asked you all to put your purpose, and there are some who are definitive. Dr. Sheikah said, I know that what my purpose is. Constance, my mother love, says, I know what my purpose is. If you're taking a moment to say, I don't really know what my purpose is, again, that's spending time with self and figuring out what is your purpose, because that purpose, again, is going to fuel your how. It's going to, when you don't know the how, it's going to let you say, I'm keeping going anyway, because I know that where my vision is, there is provision. It's going to make you be determinate about the decisions that you make. You're going to know what you want to do. You're going to know what you want to accomplish. And so a lot of times I think that we having teachers and leaders and community leaders and different people who are in spaces and places, and they don't truly know what their purpose is. I'm going to address something that Stanley Scott stated about killing the messenger. I say this a lot when I present across the country. Sometimes the message is lost because it's the wrong messenger.
And then there's that.
Sometimes the message gets lost because it's the wrong messenger. It could be something great that you are trying to convey, but you are not meant to be the one that conveys it. You're not the messenger. A lot of times we let the wrong messengers convey messages. And so those messages, though they could be powerful, they could have some substance to them, they're missed because you're not the right messenger.
That's right.
That's good.
That's a good one right there.
I learned that.
Hello and good night. You got us quiet.
And then you go back. Even with what you said with the messenger, it's still in the same, with the script, what I was talking about, it was the same message, but it's not your time. It's not your season. I was telling her later tonight, she was like, my daughter has a degree and this and other, but she just can't find her niche. And I told her she's going from job to job. I said, well, even with the degree, when you go to the next job, you still go to get back in line.
That's right. That's right.
You go to get back in line. So we're forever coming into the knowledge of, even though you may have all the tools, everything, but purposefully, going into that place, going into that atmosphere to be as effective as you can be, to bring every and leave and deposit, every tool, everything that you can give. I know with you all with students, for me, it's a congregation or it's community work or advocacy. But any platform I'm on, I try to leave empty because that's my purpose.
That's right.
to empower. That's my purpose. To give hope. That's my purpose. You know, even like what I was saying with that platform, Spirit said to me, you had 5,000 followers, and you may be clapping back to 3 people. You got 4,000.
997 is with you, and you worried about the 3. That's not
hope.
Right.
Focus.
Yeah, somewhere you leading a school, and you know this one thing that you still got to go in and give it to everybody. You know, so purpose.
Purpose. That's right.
I say and amen, Dr. Sheikah. Thank you for saying that. Thank you, because she was addressing, there was a comment saying Kwanzaa is not a religion. She was saying Kwanzaa isn't a religion, but it's being discussed by people of faith. And as a woman of faith, I never put my faith down. I'm always in my authenticity.
You
We
can't separate
appreciate
them
that.
too. You can't separate them.
I like her.
Can't separate them.
Listen,
Try it and see what's going
she appointed the wrong message to present an important message to her staff. It definitely backfired. She ignored her discernment. Yeah, sometimes we gotta understand, guys. Some messages can't be delivered by some messengers, and I think Dr. MJ spoke about that in the chat today. See, Dr. Sheikah, I was really listening, because he said that he had a female leader power. She was the principal. He was an AP, and she would always have him give certain messages. And he said one day he asked her, why was that? And she said, because it'd be received better by a man than by me.
Right.
And he said, unfortunately, she was correct. And sometimes we have to understand that sometimes that message can get missed when we have the wrong messenger. I think a lot of times us as Black folks, we put the wrong messengers before our people. I do believe that. I think that, again, my purpose, I know my purpose is educating, training. It's whatever I'm doing, I'm going to be in that space. I know that I can speak to people, but everybody can. You could be the smartest person that knows all the stuff, but you shouldn't be the one conveying it. You should be giving it to somebody else to convey. And that's, again, about staying in your lane and understand that everyone has value. To your point, you know, when it comes to purpose, your purpose might not be to be in the front. Your purpose might be to be in the back.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You got to be good with that.
Exactly. Because you don't know what you got to learn in the background that's going to help you do, you know. And then also the other thing about this is if we believe in interconnectedness, right, in community and all of that, we know that we all are on assignment, right? Like we all are an assignment in each other's lives. So, you know, what has come very clear to me over the last year or two is that somebody's breakthrough is attached to my blessing, right? Somebody's blessing is attached to my breakthrough. So when I think about what I'm doing every day and how I'm doing it, that's like, that becomes a part of my purpose. Like, yo, you got to do this. You got to keep pushing, because somebody else is going to benefit just like you are benefiting off of someone else. So it's like this idea of purpose is so important, because our purpose is not just for our own. Our purpose is for the collective. And as we continue to think about, you know, all the principles of Kwanzaa, we have to continue to go back to that original. It's about the collective. It's about defending our community. It's about bringing our community together. It's about keeping us together and being unapologetic about it, and not defining our community up against norms that don't even work for us.
And Carl, to your point, sometimes it does require humility and waiting for our turn. And understand that we got to be happy for those that come before us that succeed, because that just means, you know, I'm getting closer to my blessing. I'm getting closer to my turn. And so completely concur.
I want to say something real quick. And two, I think it is knowing your turn, but it's too knowing who's the chosen or the set leader. When we look at other nationalities and, you know, other folks, others, there sometimes I'm floored when I walk into certain conferences in different rooms, even in the church circuit. I'm sorry, because they just know how to work together. They know how to follow the leader. They're not intimidated by following the leader. They're not. You look at and I can only say it with Moses. He had to choose 70 people that his spirit was going to be poured out on. So that means these 70 people would operate like Moses, move like Moses, and not to say that they were clones, but when it came to the work that was to be done, they were all on the same mindset, for the same goal. So I look at when we talk about, you know, not, you know, sometimes it's more not knowing how to follow the person that is in place to lead. Not saying just because you're the broom, you're the mop, you're the dustpan, they were all needed to get the job done.
That's right. That's right. And you couldn't have got it done without one of the pieces.
Right.
And that's what we don't understand. Like all the pieces have to come together.
Right.
Because it can't get done if that, even the smallest piece, right? Like I studied, and I do this with APs and principals, is like, why did the Challenger blow up, right? Like the space shuttle in the 80s, why did it blow, right? It took many years of study of why it is. But one of the things is because there's blinders, right? There was these flaps that did not come up that's supposed to come up. Mm-hmm. And all the people, but the way that they built the rocket was with these things that caused blinders. And it took years for NASA and all these people to figure it out. And I always say to leaders, like, what's your blinder, right? Like, what are your blind spots? And if you're not identifying them quickly, you're going to explode. So the thing is, you also got to trust the people around you. You got to keep people around you that'll help you. And it's not just about being accountable, right? It's also about not holding you just accountable, but also empowering you to do the work and stay in alignment with your purpose. Because if not, those blinders and those flaps will come up and then you will see disaster. So we have to keep our minds really focused on our purpose. And we also have to keep looking and keeping and pulling people around us to help us find, to stay on track.
Yes, agree. Completely concur. Y'all, let's see. I was looking for some comments. Something else that I wanted to talk about when it comes to purpose is understanding that many times when it comes to purpose, we don't utilize our discernment. Ooh. Right? Sometimes we allow our flesh and our ego
and our pain and our trauma
and all of that stuff to get in the way of discernment, which ultimately affects our purpose. How many of us have, it's been like you talked about, you said you get off the path, and we get off the path because we get distracted. We let things that should not affect us offend us, and we let things that should not affect us impact us. And so, one thing, just reading the comments that came to me is that sometimes you have to follow your discernment and not allow that ego. Your discernment is when you said it spoke to you and said, you got 3 people out of 5,000. Why are you interacting with the 3 people? Mm-hmm. A lot of times I challenge us to be cognizant of discernment. I know for me, to your point, Power, when it came to me for discernment, I used to ignore my discernment when I was younger. And it's because I felt like I was being mean. I felt like, but she's or he is trying to be nice, and and I shouldn't do that. And every time I did that, I paid for it monetarily, sometimes professionally, different ways, because you don't pay attention to your discernment.
That's right.
You got to pay attention to discernment.
That's right. You do. Because the thing is, you have to, and that's not something that you can teach people. Right? Like, you cannot teach people discernment. You could teach them how to tap in. You could teach them how to be aware, self-aware. But discernment is not something that you teach in school. It's God-given, right? Like, it's a thing. It's that thing that we have that makes us very different. But we don't exercise it enough because everything else overshadows it, right? Everything. Yes, you want to be discerning, but you also have that trauma of, I got to be nice to people. Right? Because my mother said I had to be nice to folks, or no one ever gave me a chance. So when I get in this space, I'm gonna give other people a chance, even when I know it's not right. Right. So that's why it's like solving a lot of our pain so that we could you can't be discerning if you got clouds over your eyes, right? How can you see and discern if you got this? And our trauma, our past, our ego, all of these things clouds the glasses, so we can't see very clear. So the thing is, we have to get at what's getting in our glasses and clear that up so that we could get closer to what God has given us to do every single day. But we don't know we're not teaching each other how to do it. So we've got to be intentional about that.
You know, the great thing that I like about everybody that has spoken about their purpose thus far in the chat, it's been other centered. It has been
That's right.
Kwanzaa. It has been just what it's supposed to be. Nobody's purpose has been for me to make $1 million, for me to do this. It's been about the others, the village, the collective. And with that being said, I want to lead that right into Dr. Sheikah's comment. She said a lot of times we listen to our own voice instead of God's. Dr. Sheikah, and a lot of us listen to our own voice and then say it's God's.
Mm.
I don't know how many people have come to me in wrongness power and said, God just told me. And I'm like, girl, God ain't tell you that. And I know God ain't tell
They
you.
tell you that.
God, because that we don't serve
You
that
don't
type
also ask
we don't even serve that type of God. So a
Right.
lot of times what we will do is hear our own voice and then say that it's God's voice.
Right.
And so you are so right about that. That's another part to what you said, that instead of listening to our own voice and listen to God, sometimes we make our voice God's, right?
Right.
And that's something that I've noticed that people have done a lot. And so when it comes to me and purpose, and another thing, purpose does not get concerned with popularity or fame or money. It's like when Dr. Cohen and O'Neill were talking the other night. What is your currency? You know,
Yes.
we as a Black people, our currency, how do we develop value? What do we see value in? So is it being the most popular on Facebook, social media, Instagram? So then that's why I'm always controversial. But
Right.
is that my true purpose?
Right.
So what is your currency? Really, what is that currency that you're looking to spend and to collect? I think we have to be honest with ourselves about that. And you definitely have to pray for discernment and the right discernment. Protect yourself to be the best for you, for others, to benefit from your gifts. You are so right, Miss Karina. You definitely have to do that. And again, guys, you got it. You got to have a tribe too. I think one problem that we also do is that we silo. We tend to silo ourselves in spaces and places, whether it's community, whether it's work, whether it's professionally, whatever it is. We get in these silos, and we, again, as people, don't function well by ourselves. So be cognizant of that, but make sure that you're using discernment for those people that you're bringing into your village, that you're making a part of your tribe.
That's right.
For discernment, what you were saying, Power, if you could just get people to go there, get people to tap into it. What people fail to understand is, and I understand to speak to, because I know Stanley Scott well, I do understand that Kwanzaa is not about religion, it's more about spirituality. And it's about, I wouldn't say it's not about religion at all. But when you look at what we're talking about here, discernment, there's a place for you to be able to discern and hear the right voice that you must dwell in. Like you can't flip flop. That's when you begin to hear other voices. That a key sign for you to know that you're a flip flopper is when you're hearing other voices and things are messing up, like Dr.
That's right.
earlier. But when you tap into that dwelling place, it's a flow. I just told one of my daughters this the other day in the church. There's a flow. Streams flow to rivers, rivers flow to oceans, and you've never seen it flow against itself or flow in the same direction from which it has come. So what am I saying? When you're hearing all these voices, alignment, you're out of alignment. You're
Yeah.
out of the flow. You're not in that dwelling place where you constantly hear. If you're in that dwelling place, you're going to find yourself. Have you ever been in one of those wave pools and it seems like you can't help but go in the direction?
Yes.
You're in the flow.
Yes.
When you're aligned, when you have tapped into spirit, because a lot of us have come with enticing words, but script says again, the letter killeth, but spirit giveth life. There's a place that we must tap into for us to even thrive in life. To the young lady who was talking, I want to give this quote, and it's crazy. I posted this on December 21st. Spirit wants us to get our ego in a low place so that when we're exalted, we won't begin to worship ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is that. Yeah.
When you tap into that dwelling place, when you're exalted, all roads will point back to the one who exalted you, not you.
That's
If
right.
I should gain any praise, let it go. Let it go. A gift ain't a gift to you, give it away. Let it go. Let it go but not, I thank you. But it's a place in flow and alignment that we must tap into to be able to dwell in a place of discernment, to know, and again, I don't want to be so super about, but that's who I am.
That's who you are. Don't never apologize for who you are. Everyone has a lens and a perspective as to which they see the world through.
Right.
And it's not for
Right.
everyone to agree with or everyone to see. And so, as many have said, many of us are people of faith. We
Yes.
can't remove our faith when we start having certain conversations. And we know that when it comes to purpose, purpose requires faith.
Yeah, let me end with this. It does. Let me end with this. When it says, even talking about the flip floppers, we look at the flip flopping is when we're tempted to come out of purpose or to go a route other than we know that we were purposed to go in. So again, script reads that okay, Jesus was tempted twice in Matthew and Mark. Then it came back again in Luke and said that he was tempted again. But the third time it said that the enemy waited for a more opportune time. So he's waiting for you to get off your game, for you to change your mind, for you to go. And I'm talking about even in life, at times you got to stay on the path of purpose. You got to stay on the path of discernment. I remember one of our hot people in Jacksonville, this lady told me, she said, Brandon, all I want you to do is go with your gut. Go with what you feel. Go with what you know. Go with what spirit is telling you. And when we deviate from that place, we're not in the flow.
We're not walking our purpose. We're not in alignment with what we should be in the space of. And you're so correct. And so again, guys, now we've had 5 nights. Y'all, we getting our cleansing, we doing our celebrating of Kwanzaa, but these 5 nights, these next 2 nights are not about these 7 days. It is about taking these principles and implementing them daily into our lives. It really is. If you don't know your purpose tonight, that is fine. Get you in a quiet place with self and figure it out. And when he says your gut, that's spirit. We know that's listen to those that's quiet voice within you to let you know that you're on your path of purpose. And the thing is, when you're there, you won't be deterred easily. Karina said, I've been in here and I've been wanting to quit, but I will not quit because she's walking in her purpose. And I will tell you, Karina, you just need to find your village. And I promise you, it's Black Educators Rock. What happens is we've had so many teachers, and I can name, and principals. Principal Presley, James Presley, just won Principal of the Year. There have been teachers who have come to the conference said, I'm really leaving. They said, this was my last woo-ha. I'm coming to see. And they've gone back to win Teacher of the Year. You just have to find your tribe and the people who are going to support and uplift and encourage you. Because again, sometimes what we do is we look for that village to be in the school, in our city, in our area, but we have to expand the village. That's the great thing about technology that we have to use more purposely. It's just understand that we're expanding our village. And so that's why I'm a part of OSG. I go to New York, a lot of people in Florida, primarily Jacksonville, they don't really rock with me, Power, because I think I'm a bit much,
I rock with you all day. Right.
I'm unapologetic about who and what I am.
And I love every man.
I'm not going to start dimming my light because it's shining in your face. I'm not doing that.
That's right. And you should. That's how you know that that's not your tribe, right? Your tribe, you can take up space. You can, and that and this is not a plug for OSG, but it's like, like my sister put in the comments, Constance said, you got to seek counsel. The reason why I seek wise counsel.
Come on.
Wise counsel. So because we got to make sure we put wise there. Yeah. And I think the thing why we work is because we seek each other out. Like she'll call, I won't speak to Constance for 2 months, but she'll get on the phone, Power, I need to talk to you. I bet, call me. And then we'll talk, she'll get counsel, and I'll be like, all right, you good? We good, right? And she has the ability to know that even though I'm 800 miles away, she can call me at any time and she's going to see, and she's not afraid or intimidated by seeking my counsel, right? Like that's the other thing too. So at any given time, I could call Fia and say, Fia, I'm thinking about this. Like, what do you think? I'm thinking about going back to get my PhD. Where you think I should go? And then she can say and give me that wise counsel, right? Because it's not about the ego. It's about us moving forward. And I know that they are invested in me as I am in them. So, and that's a benefit that we have. We have Dennis, who is our coach. Like I could call him at any time. Sometimes he don't answer the phone, but I could.
Don't do that to my coach. Don't do that to him. It's three of us calling him. He like,
I don't even know how he does it. I don't even. And me in and of itself, I'm a whole project. But it's like, and if in my like, even if with my daughter, I'm like, well, you got a whole, so it's not even just me, like it's generational for
She
me.
got
Like
aunties. She got a whole bunch of OSG aunties.
right, exactly. So it's about this community and not having this ego, seeking out the counsel, being, because I might not see it, right? Because I'm in my place, but my sister Fia gonna see it. My sister Constance, Allison is gonna see it. And I am vulnerable and loving enough and stuck to my purpose enough to trust them to be able to move this thing forward. And that's so important.
You we could do this all night, but what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna go. Lifelines and sanity checks are essential to leadership. She's so correct, and so again, as you're doing these days, guys, these 7 days, the next 365, I want you to be intentional about who is your tribe, who is your village, what is your purpose. How are you contributing to the collective work and responsibility in cooperative economics? I want you guys to really think about those things so that you better yourself, so that we better our communities, our families, our schools, etc. And so what we're going to do right now is go ahead and go into wrap up, y'all, because it's 9:35. Y'all know we can do this all
Oh
day.
Lord, is it? Oh my God.
It goes so fast, Power, I'm telling you. So I'm going to go with you, Pastor B, and then you, Power.
As we wrap up, purpose, if I can quickly just say, just give some few points that I noted for myself. Get rid of stagnating thoughts. Use your imagination. Get rid of distractions. Don't expect others to put more into your plan or vision than you are willing to put into it. Excuse me. Put your village in a place where they're close to you, because in this season, it's going to take a village to thrive. No man is an island. You're not going to be able to do it on your own. Last but not least, and most importantly, remove yourself from vision killers. If you don't walk in purpose, you got to walk this thing out. Anybody who's speaking anything different other than what you know you see, other than what you know from your knower, that season is over.
I say Power.
Connect to something higher than yourself. And if it's not, connect to something, right? So like some people connect to the spirit of the ancestors. I'm here for that. Right, because that is because there's something other than me, right? And when you know that there's something higher or other than you have to stay faithful and purposeful, right? Like that. So whatever that is, because if you don't stand for something, you won't fall for anything. So stay in alignment with what that is. Get you a tribe. Get you a tribe and get you wise counsel. Why? Because it's a group don't make them a tribe, right? So a group of people don't make them a tribe. You get wise counsel, and don't be so full of yourself that you don't go for counsel, and stay in alignment with what your purpose is. Even if you gotta every day say, "Who is this right? Is this my purpose? I gotta check myself. Am I staying on it?" Because you're gonna live a more joyous and happier life when you do, and you're going to have a greater impact, because at the end of all this, the name of the game is impact. If we're not having an impact on our lives, we're not having an impact on our community, we're not having an impact on our children, then what are we doing? So vision and will get provision, and stay focused. And that's what I got.
Yes, my superintendent, everything said aligned vision creates a tribe, and she is so right about that, y'all. That aligned vision, you're gonna create a tribe. It's gonna organically and naturally be created.
Yeah,
it definitely
absolutely,
is.
Absolutely.
And so, in closing, just understand, guys. You first have to understand what commitment is, right? It's not a passing fancy. It's not, it interests me at this time, or it seems kind of, oh, it seems like it's kind of cool at this point. When you're committed, you're committed to it, whether it is hot, not hot, whatever it is. Understand it's going to take us collectively to build, develop, and defend our community. Tonight we were defending, building, and developing our community within this Facebook group, and it has been a privilege and an honor to sit here and just watch you all do that. Right? That's implementation, how small it may be. We're going to defend our community. We're going to defend our culture. We're going to defend our history. Right? Because we will get back to our historical initiative and greatness if we go together. Go alone. Go. When you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And so we're going to get there. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And so that first step is you getting to know self. If you don't do anything else this Kwanzaa, take some time to self reflect. Take some time to break these principles down and ask yourself, do an assessment, do a principle assessment, right? Of these seven values and say, where am I lacking in this one?
Mm.
Where am I strong at? And so that you can get to that space and place to where we all are making sure that we are contributing to this great work that we all are doing.
That's
And
what.
with that being said, guys, Habari Ghani,
Nia.
we love you guys. We have two more nights, so we will see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is my little brother. I think it's my African American guru. I think he's on tomorrow. And I think he's on with, I don't want to get it wrong. Who is he on with?
Let me see.
Trying to look. I'm trying to look.
I know he's on and he's awesome, guys. Brandon is he's out here teaching African American history all like nobody else. He is phenomenal at it, and I cannot wait for him to talk to you guys tomorrow. But he's on tomorrow, and oh, he's on with my guy Emmanuel Curtis. Jegna. I met him at the Rock Conference, guys. He is doing some phenomenal work in his area, and so they will be on tomorrow. And so we look forward to seeing you guys Sunday and Monday. Happy Kwanzaa, Habari Ghani.
Happy
Have a
Kwanzaa.
great night. We love y'all.
Rambe.
Yeah.
Yes, Harambe. 7 times. We're gonna do that to end it on the seventh night. I got it. Good night.
Good night.